Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm back with another movie review. Today's movie is another Lifetime movie, and it's called He's Not Worth Dying For. Now this movie is kind of crazy. It's based off a true story, true events. Yes, true events. So it stars Robin Givens, Rachel Boyd, and her name is Hilda something. But the characters is Isla, Grace, Jake, Grace's mom, Grace's friends, Ari and Kylie, the school counselor. Yeah, it's crazy. So it starts off with, okay, Isla, she wants to be like the next Charli D'Amelio. So she's an up-and-coming beauty influencer. So she does a lot of lives promoting clothes and stuff like that. But she also works at a diner. She has her own place. But she does go home to visit her dad from time to time. Her mom walked out on them. And, you know, she's basically just on her own. I believe she's, 16 or whatever. 16 on her own. She finished high school already, so she got her GED. Grace, she's a straight A student. She goes to a private school. Her friends are Ari and Kylie. They go to the public school. Grace is basically on track to go to college. She lived at home with her mom and her dad. And Jake, he came back home. He's a military brat, but his dad died, so he ended up going back home to their hometown, which is Haynesville, Oregon, and he stays with his grandmother. He works at a restaurant. So, yeah. But he's also a senior in high school. So, yeah. So, eventually, one day, Ari and Grace. Okay. So, Isla ends up meeting Jake first. She sees him. I forgot where she saw him at. She saw him somewhere, and then they went to a party, and she saw him at a party, and they connected from there. So I think after a few days of them connecting and, they're hooking up and, having a good time, Isla convinces Jake to do a video to help with production, because Isla's all about being an influencer and gaining followers. She's all about into that social media life. Jake is basically a laid-back type of guy, but, he do post some on his Instagram or whatever. And Isla wants to go look at his page, and she sees, Yeah, so Isla sees his Instagram, and she's looking like he needs some help. So she ended up posting the video, and people were liking that. And, that helps spruces his social media and following as well, because he likes to do skating and stuff like that. So eventually, with her doing that and them hanging out together, he started getting calls from skater people, so he started hanging out with them. So one day, Ari and Grace is at the restaurant where Jake works, and they was having lunch. And he ends up being their waiter. And he just kept staring at Grace. And Ari was like, okay. So eventually when his shift was over, he was already waiting outside of his truck. And they came out, and, Grace was all shy and everything, because come to find out, she ain't never been in a relationship with nobody, so this is all new to her. So Ari goes to wait in the car, and she eventually talks with Jake. They go walking through the park, and she starts telling him more about her life. And he was like, that's cool, that's interesting. So they're hitting it off, and she ends up making this bracelet for him and hanging out more together. She gives it to him. They take some pictures to put up on Instagram. So for some reason, also, this is how they end up meeting together, definitely. So Ari and Kylie, they both follow Isla, because Isla's already graduated. She don't need to worry about school. And she ended up posting the picture and video of Jake. So that's when Grace found out. She was like, oh my God, we're both dating the same guy, or whatever the case may be. And that just set fuel to the fire. Like, so now they're going back and forth, trying to like put out videos to show that this girl is better with him. And this is like, you're not going to say nothing. You basically just going to let the two girls fight over you. And that's just what it is. So they do that. They go back and forth, posting the videos, never. So it got to the point where it was coming up to be prom. And, you know, Ari and Kylie, they both got invited to the prom. And Grace basically was just like, feel like a third wheel. But eventually she ended up asking Jake to the prom with the video. And then he ended up doing a good video to, you know, counteract what he said. He replied to, I guess you're going to go with her. Isla ends up seeing all the videos and stuff like that. Grace sees all the videos of Isla with Isla hanging out with Jake. And, you know, they both go into a frenzy. And it's like they started getting to the point where they're jealous of each other. And, like, they really fighting over a dude. Like, there's so many fish in the sea. Like, come on now. You ain't got to fight over one dude. Go get somebody else. But you know what? That's kind of Jake's fault because he liked both of them. And instead of standing up and saying he wants to be with this person or this person, you're basically stringing them along and basically getting their feelings entwined. And it's just like, it's going to make it hard for them to leave in the end. So, long story short, they both found out about each other. Grace ends up finding out where Isla lives and she goes to her house. They start doing threats and stuff to each other. So one day while Isla was at work, Grace went to where Isla works, and she was coming out with her friend Cammy, who also works at the diner where she works, and Grace almost ran them over. So Isla ended up calling the cops because they recorded everything, you know, and you got to record everything like World Star. Recorded them and then called the police. So the police ended up going to Grace's house, and Grace's mother answered the door, and the cops told her what happened, and the cops told Grace to stay away from each other. So later that night, mind you, that incident just happened later that night, she ends up being with Ari, and like kind of Ari, like, you're supposed to be her friend. Instead of like telling her this is wrong, she's basically just co-signing everything Grace says instead of saying, listen, this is wrong. I feel bad for you. Like, I don't want nothing to go wrong. Like, her other friend, Kylie, she was with her boyfriend. So she was trying to tell, because Kylie also saw the video where the guys, they said there was two heads. Ari was in the car with Grace. And Kylie told Ari, like, listen, why would you not tell her nothing? You're supposed to be her friend. You should be trying to stop and not make stuff go worse and egg it on, whatever the case would be. So Kylie left, and Ari was just left sat there just looking like, well, whatever. But she eventually goes with Grace when they pull up at Isla's house, and they start having words to each other. And Ari records a video of Isla saying, listen, this is my man. You cannot be with him. And Grace says, well, what you going to do about it? And then Isla says, I will kill you. So after that, they both leave Isla's house. They end up going to the party where Jake is at. And then they end up fighting in the front of the lawn. Like, Grace punched Isla first. Isla punched back, and they're just going back and forth. And mind you, it is a whole group of people standing outside the lawn watching the fight. Instead of y'all breaking it up, y'all just standing there like. So eventually, Isla falls to the ground, and she ends up going to her purse, and she pulls out this knife. And then this knife that she got from Jake from in the beginning, where they used to stay together, whatever. So she held on to that knife. I don't know why, but she did. So eventually, Grace goes up into Isla, and the knife ends up going into Grace's side. And, you know, she died. Yeah. She died. Like, and nobody really did anything to stop it. Like, that could have been so preventable. But it's like, everybody want to be on World Star, the next viral video. Like, come on now. When it's a life or death situation, like, take some initiative. Don't just stand around and think, oh my God, I'm going to be famous because of this. No. Take the initiative to try to stop it, because it's going to look better on your part instead of you just standing around looking like you're dumb. You don't have no clue what's going on. So, so sad. Grace's parents get the news that, you know, their daughter is dead. When they rushed her to the hospital, it was no avail. She was coming back. Now, Isla is being charged with murder. They all got taken to court. Jake, like I said, should have said something from the get-go. You basically let them play each other against each other. And you could have said who you want to be with from the get-go. But no, you just like, you like to have your cake and eat it too. And then the result of that, one of the girls was dead. Like, I'm surprised he didn't get charged for the murder, because technically that is his fault. Regardless if the girl ran into the knife or not, and that other girl got charged, like, they both should have been held accountable. Or he should have been held accountable, not just the girl. So, she ends up going to trial. She gets years in jail. So, the true story behind this is, the real girl's name is Rachel and Sarah. So, this is true, back and forth like that. So, Rachel, in the end, ends up getting 27 years to life. And the guy, Jake, or the real guy, Joshua, they don't really talk much about him, but it's just like, it's sad to see that you are the culprit. You let this all happen when you could have been the one to stop it in the beginning. Like, you basically dragged it out. You knew this was about to happen. You knew it. You followed both of them on Instagram. And what was crazy is how he ended up blocking Grace on Instagram, and all the other people could see his page, and that would also put fuel to the fire as well with Grace and Isla. So it's like, you with me, but you also don't want people to know you're with me, but then you also got videos and stuff posting about this girl. So he's a cheater and all this other stuff, but it's like, dang, a life was taken, and it's like you didn't really do nothing to stop it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this movie recap. It's called He's Not Worth Dying For on Lifetime. You can probably watch on the Lifetime app as well. So with that being said, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.